I'm living my best life. Yeah, yeah. I'm living my best life. Made a couple M's, you know. I said, I'm living my best.
What's up, She-Rose? Welcome back to my channel. And for those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Areayl, and welcome to Areayl Journey. As you can see, the title of this, excuse me, I'm losing my train of thought. The title of this video is me being admitted into the psych hospital as a new mom. This topic is something that's still a little sensitive to me because who I was back then was um, totally different than who I am now. I'm in a much better place now. I will also like to put a disclaimer out that I am just telling my story. This is to be inspirational and motivational and informational video. So anything that I share, don't take it as if, oh, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. I'm just wanting to educate people more on mental illness, specifically depression and type 2 bipolarism. So that way everyone can have a better understanding as far as what somebody with these illnesses are going through, to the point where they would end up in a psychiatric hospital, because it is not a fun experience at all. When I went into the psychiatric hospital, it was my first and last time. So anyway, to get into the video, I was clinically diagnosed with manic depression and type 2 bipolarism while I was admitted into the hospital. So just to give you a little bit of background about me and my condition or illness, however you want to label it. Growing up, my emotions was always everywhere. I mean, it didn't matter. I was either hot or I was cold. There never was an in-between. I was either really, really up or I was really, really down. And, of course, back then, because I'm an early 80s baby. So back then, mental illness was not talked about. Either you were labeled just flat out crazy, or you were, if you was a child, you were just rebellious or just a badass kid. And I did a lot of stuff that my mother didn't like. And, so I was labeled as a rebellious child, especially growing up as I did, because my mom was pretty strict and we grew up as Jehovah's Witnesses. That's what we practiced. So, my mom didn't play. So everything I did was like, you can't do that, so, but anyway, fast forward, to adulthood, when I met my now husband, I was 23, 24. We met in March 2007, and we got pregnant immediately. We had our oldest in January 2008. We had our second child September 2009, and then we had our third child December 2010. And during the pregnancy with my third child, it was really, really stressful because we were having a lot of financial hardships. We just had our third child. We both really, I wasn't working because our oldest was really sick. She had chronic asthma, so every time the seasons changed, she was in and out the hospital. So that prevented me from working, because when she originally had gotten sick, that was when she was 4 months old. She had, I was working and I lost my job, because she couldn't go to the daycare because she was sick after she had gotten discharged from the hospital. So I decided not to pursue finding another job because it just didn't make any sense. So, we had to get on government assistance, and then he worked, and at that time we were young, still wasn't making too much money and stuff, and especially with 3 kids, that was just done. Our money was gone. So anyway, our finances was really, really tight, and then that affected our relationship, especially since we were still kind of new, even though we had been together for 3 years. We were still getting to know each other. Plus, on top of that, learning how to be good parents and take care of 3 brand new babies. So that was a lot of stress. And I honestly think that despite how I was feeling when I was younger, my household when I was younger it was a lot of tension and stress. So now as an adult, in a brand new relationship and with being a new mom, that was more tension and stress all over again. So I think that was kind of what triggered the symptoms for me to become depressed and my type 2 bipolarism. I just remember during that pregnancy, I cried a lot. And out of all my children, she is the most sensitive. I just remember crying often, and I talked to my midwife about it, and they had put me on Zoloft. First of all, let me just say, I do not like taking pills, period. I have a high tolerance for pain, so I only take pain relievers when I really, really need it. Like, I need to be about to pass out, bent over where I could barely walk before I would take a painkiller. That's how much I do not like taking medicine. But like I said, they gave me the Zoloft because I was telling them how I was just crying out of nowhere. I felt really sad. And so they gave me the Zoloft, which is an antidepressant. When I took the antidepressant, mind you, this was at the lowest dose. And I think it was like 20 or 25 milligrams. That's the lowest dose that it came in at that time. I don't know about now, but that was the lowest dose at that time. And it was even worse. My anxiety went up. I started hallucinating. Excuse me. Okay, so it had me all over the place with my emotions. I like to apologize if it sounds like I'm talking really fast. I don't mean to. It's just I laid my older kids down. They just went to bed. It's like 9:30ish right now, or what is it? Yeah, it's about 10 o'clock. And my 5-month-old is wide awake, and he's in the chair right here. So I'm trying to make the video while he's quiet and calm and get it out before he starts to fuss. But anyway, as I was saying, the Zoloft, it had my emotions everywhere. I went from angry to crying at a drop of a dime. I remember crying over the Snuggles commercial, all types of stuff. So that just didn't make the situation any better. And then I was also worried about like how it was going to affect my baby, with my emotions and me feeling the way I was feeling, as well as, more importantly, the medication, because whatever you intake as during the pregnancy, your baby also intakes it as well. So I was just really worried about her getting sick from the medication, or it just doing something to her, because it being an antidepressant is alternating my chemicals, which means it's going to alternate her chemically as well, because, and if she don't have those traits in her, let's say it skips her, I didn't want to really take it, so I barely took it, because I was pregnant, and then especially because of how it made me feel, it didn't help me at all. So whenever I did go to see my counselor, they would always ask, "Oh, how's it going with the medication?" And I would just say, "Fine." And they would ask, "Are you taking it every day?" And I would say yes, when I really wasn't. And thank God I wasn't, because after I had her, I remember there was a commercial where being born with cleft lip and cleft mouth palates. It was all from Zoloft. I just remember on the commercial they said Did you take Zoloft when you were pregnant? Give us a call if your baby has any type of birth defects, or if they were born with cleft lip or cleft mouth. That's pretty much how I had started on antidepressants, and that's just to give you a little background. So to fast forward to October 2011, I just remember one of my good friends, she rarely was, me and her rarely got a chance to hang out or whatnot at that time. So I just remember her calling everybody that she wanted to get together with for her birthday, because her birthday's in October. And I remember her just wanting to do something low key. It wasn't nothing extravagant. It was like going to dinner or something, and maybe going to get a drink afterwards. So something that would cost like maybe $50. So long story short, like I said, finances was really tight. So at the end of the day, like 2 or 3 days prior to her birthday, I could not come up with the money to go hang out with her for her birthday. So that was like the icing on the cake. It was the final straw. I just remember something in my brain just snapped. And at the time, I had some Vicodin pills because I had went to the dentist like 2 or 3 weeks prior to her birthday for some teeth cleaning, and he gave me a month's worth of Vicodin. And I remember, because at the time, like I said, I was stressed out. So when it comes to bipolarism, you get insomnia. So at that time, I was up really late. Even though I felt tired, I was just up really late doing nothing, just watching TV, because I could not go to sleep. So I was up really late, so I would take the Vicodin to help me go to sleep. Plus, it gave me like a little bit of a high, so I like that feeling too. Then I would just crash and go to sleep. So I would take the Vicodin, and then at the point where around her birthday, I was probably taking 2 Vicodins. I don't think it was 3, but at least 2 Vicodins a night, because I had gotten used to just taking the one. So I had the Vicodin, so I figured, I'm just going to overdose on these pills. And I remember just not feeling, I just wanted peace. That's all I can say. I just wanted peace of mind. I was tired of being stressed. I was tired of my thoughts constantly running in my head. I was tired of feeling sad and down. I was tired of feeling drained. I was just tired, and I wanted peace. Peace of mind, peace in my soul, peace in my body, and I just wanted the bad feelings to stop. So I said, I'll just overdose on these pills. But what made me not do it was my kids, because I'm like, what are my kids going to do without me? Because they were really, really little. They're not going to really remember me, I mean, my 2 oldest, but they won't have too many memories of me because they were still tiny. They were 3, 2, and barely 1, or 1.5, and one that was barely 1 at the time, in October 2011. So that's what stopped me from taking the pills. So I ended up calling. I remember I called my husband to let him know like how I was feeling, what was going through my head, and that I was going to call the suicide hotline. And I called the suicide hotline. They stayed on the phone. I gotta give a shout out to them and tip my hat off to them, because I know they probably heard even more horrific stories than Mine's, because mine's was not horrific at all, but to be able to stay calm and de-escalate somebody when they're in that type of mind frame, that takes a lot of energy and emotions, and I personally couldn't do it, so I took my hat off to them. But with the suicide hotline, just to let you know, if not aware, they stay on the line with you. They said, well, do you want us to take you, do you want to go to the hospital? And I told them I do. So they sent a squad car to my house. So mind you, I still was like, okay, well, I'm not going to kill myself, but I really want to hurt myself badly. And I just remember I put the pills in my purse because I was going to take them at the hospital, because I figure I'm right there at the hospital. I'm hooked up to the machine, so if I take them at the hospital, I won't probably die because I'm right there and they'll save me. And I still would get rid of that urge to just wanting to stop the chaos that was going on internally, as far as in my head and my emotions. So I took the pills with me. Little did I know, because like I said, it was my first time. I don't know anything about this. So I called, and like I said, the squad car came, and the officer, before I could even get in the car, they verified who I was, and he was like, well, because of these type of calls, I have to check your purse. Boom, he found the pills, so he takes them. So I'm thinking they're going to throw them away or something. I don't know. So I get to the hospital. Turns out they actually gave it to the nurse. And when you go to the emergency room, they always have you take a urine test, at least for women, to make sure you're not pregnant or whatnot. So I remember the nurse kept coming in, checking on me. I can't really remember what all was asked, but I do remember she kept coming in, checking on me, and pretty much she was asking, but yet telling me they were going to admit me because they saw high levels of the Vicodin in my urine. So immediately from there, I went straight to the psych ward. Let me tell you, that place is a positive and a negative experience, because they're there to help you, but the atmosphere, at least for me, like I said, being not ever experiencing anything like that, it was like being in jail. The minute you get there, they take all your personal belongings. You can't wear your clothes, really. You can't wear your clothes, but they take your personal belongings, as far as your cell phone. You're not allowed to have a cell phone. If you have visitors, they have to pretty much get screened, just like in jail. Phone calls go through the nursing station, and you can only be on the phone for so many minutes, because you can't hold the line up for anybody else, I guess. But I just remember it was like as close to a jail experience I guess I'll ever have. I've never been in jail, but I visited plenty of people in jail or in prison, so it just reminded me of jail. Okay, and when you're at one of your lowest points in life, that to me was like another kick in the butt and stuff. So anyway, I was there for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. I was told that I was there way too long for somebody with just depression and stuff. So long story short, I was there that long because when I got there, they were giving me antidepressants. I don't remember what it was. I probably didn't even know, but they were giving me antidepressants. It wasn't helping. I just remember still being very, very sleepy. I didn't want to do anything. because symptoms of having depression. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to sleep all day. I barely ate. And I would get up at night and have dinner just because that's when they passed out the medication, and then I was going straight back to the room. I remember I had to share a room with this girl. That's the other thing. You have to share a room with somebody, at least at the location I was at. You had to share a room with somebody, and I just remember the girl, she was younger than me. She was going through some way worse stuff, and I feel bad for her. But she was like, you just have to get up. You have to get up and you have to go to the counseling, which I was doing, but like they had little games and they had the TV room area, and she was like, you just have to be seen a few times throughout the day or else they're going to keep you longer. And I was ready to go home, and I just wasn't understanding why I was still there, So she told me, that I needed to get up. So later on that night, I just remember I got up and I said, okay, after dinner, I'm going to just sit and watch TV in the common area for a little while. And while I was out watching TV and trying to interact a little bit with the people that was there, the nurse comes and she pretty much shoves the cup of medicine in my face, but it had additional pills. So she lightweight got an attitude with me because I was questioning her, like, what is this? And she was like, well, just take it. The counselor thinks, or a psychiatrist thinks you might need this. And then when she meets with you tomorrow, she's going to see, how you feel or whatever. And I just kept asking, like, well, I'm not just going to take anything that, you give me just because you say take it. So she kind of told me what it was, and without answering me as well, she just was like, just take it, and it's a mood stabilizer. And I'm like, well, what's that? Because like I said, I don't know nothing about this stuff. You just giving me stuff, and I don't know anything about it. And so I took the medicine, and the next day I did feel a little bit better. I met with the counselor. I told her, how I felt. She told me that she asked me if I had gotten the pill the night before, and I told her I did. So she explained more what a mood stabilizer is. If you do not know, that's pretty much to address bipolarism. I don't know if it addresses any other mental illnesses, but it addresses bipolarism, probably schizophrenia as well, because people with schizophrenia, their emotions are all over the place as well. But it's just to calm you down and make you feel mellow. So at that point, I was taking Lamictal which is an antidepressant, and then Celexa, which was the mood stabilizer, or it's vice versa. I can't remember which one is the mood stabilizer and which one is the antidepressant. So after she gave me the medication of mood stabilizer, they observed me for like maybe another 2 to 3 days, and then I was finally discharged. That was the first and the last time I've ever been admitted into the psychiatric hospital. I made this video, just like I said, for informational purposes and to be a motivation and hopefully an inspiration to somebody who has gone through that experience, or just have depression or type 2 bipolarism or any mental health illness. Just if you know somebody who has any type of mental health illness, or if you have it, please utilize all your resources. That's the only way that you can make sure you are able to operate at your best, and to make sure you feel as best as you can, because I know every day is a struggle, every day is a fight, but that doesn't mean that you have to lose. every day, or the majority of your days. And if you know somebody who has any type of mental illness, please support them, watch them, so that way they do not get to that point where they do have the feelings of suicide. Talk to them, ask questions, because at the end of the day, nobody wants to die. It's just you want peace and whatever is going on in the world. So that's pretty much all my story. I hope this video was helpful to someone. Please share it to those that it can help, because mental illness is very serious. There's a lot of people that are walking around with mental illnesses and are not diagnosed. So if you ever feel like you're going from one end of the spectrum to the other, if you feel like you get angry a lot, irritable a lot, like those are normal reactions based upon the situation that's going on. But it's a difference. And if you feel like, like this is just way too much, I'm overreacting way too much, or if you're feeling constantly sad, go get help. Talk to your doctor, seek counseling if you think that'll help. If you need to be on medication, go get some medication. If you want to do it the holistic way, go do whatever you need to do, but get help. And if you know somebody who is going through those symptoms or experiences, help them. So that's all I wanted to share with you all. Once again, help those that need the help. And until next time, remember to tell yourself, I am irrefutable. Peace.
I said I'm living my best life. I said I'm living my best life. Made a couple M's with my best friends. Turned all my L's into lessons.